Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI Tripod podcast. We are going to talk about all things AI machine learning across three different perspectives. Hi, my name is Karthick. I'm a sophomore in high school.
Hi guys, I'm Loveneet. I'm an undergraduate studying computer science.
Hi, my name is Arun. I'm a professional with 25 years of experience. I'm here to share and learn about AI, generative AI. Glad to be here.
As usual, all views and opinions expressed are our own and do not represent any organization, employer, or company. This podcast is independently produced and all content is for informational purposes only. So, guys, of course, OpenAI had their videos posted on YouTube about their new models and image gen. We can start talking about that sort of. So from what I've seen, especially with the image gen, which is like the new prime model that they kind of pushed
Like,
out.
what do they call it? They call it Ghibli. What is that style? How do you pronounce that style?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
the
what was
famous style is Ghibli style
Ghibli
yeah,
style.
yeah,
that
Ghibli
people
yeah.
are
style.
going crazy
It's
over.
important to know that it's not just in 4o, it's also in Sora, which means that now
Mm.
the video, like, I think that's sort of also going to make the videos as well a lot better than they used to be. And also, the main feature is that you're able to style it properly and it's able to generate text as well. Very accurate text. And I think another thing is that they also noted that the API for this new updated image generation is going to be coming in like a few weeks, I think they said.
That's kind of cool. So if you have the API exposed, then you can do some amazing automations in the background to generate these images and videos, and I can see how powerful that could be.
I saw that they are now not using fully diffusion like capability because like in diffusion they create the whole image in one go. Have you guys noticed that the image now when it's creating, it
Yeah.
goes like from up to down, and it also changes when you are creating that.
Correct. It almost feels like it is thinking through. It has your prompt, like it has a like a random
Yeah.
noise to start with, right? And works backwards from that random noise and keeps thinking through, changing, and then
Yeah,
gets to where it needs to
Yeah,
be.
I've
because you
seen when
oh,
yeah go ahead.
you can see in the image generation that it first starts with a really blurry image, but it doesn't resemble at all what you're talking about at all. But slowly it gets a little bit closer. When it gets to about halfway, it gets what it's about, what it's like generating, and then the other half is relatively quick.
I've
Yeah.
seen I tested it on like one of the images of creating a person. It started with a different color, like a different tone. Midway changed the tone and everything, made it a bit more higher resolution. And when it finished, then the result I was thinking in the start was very different than the finished one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, another thing to note is that I noticed when I was watching their video, they purposely toned down the guardrails on this new updated image generation, which means
Really?
that because they wanted to make you like be able to be more creative and like and certain guardrails will block you from doing that obviously. So certain
As
people are creating images with, for example, Donald Trump and like Elon Musk, and then some of them they also found out that it's good at generating like styles from different shows. Like if you wanted yourself to look like a Simpsons character or a Family Guy
Mhm.
character or like a Bluey character or something like that, it can generate that and it does look remarkably similar to like the actual shows. Like
Yeah,
Did you
and
guys
the
see
other thing,
the
people is complaining about is copyrights, right? This Ghibli apparently is like the style is owned by somebody else in Japan, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But now we're using it left and right all over the place. So that's an interesting. Like everybody's excited,
yeah
jumping
like
up and down, but
so
there may be something coming up. We don't know.
yeah, also
I've seen the creator of Ghibli Studios. It's his one of his old videos are circulating the internet now, where he is like not very enthusiastic regarding the use of AI in creativity, and now his style is the one which is like most famous right now, becoming a trend.
yeah,
So
also this also changes what it means. Like for example, for like movie production, like some people would have to manually create like for stop motion and everything for movies, they had to manually create it. But now with the new image generation in Sora, you're able to define like, oh, I want this specific scene in this style from this other show, and it's able to generate it. So it might mean something different for that sort of aspect of it as well, like the movie and show production kind of aspect as well.
Have you guys seen the infographics examples of that?
I have, but it actually fails in a lot
Really?
of cases because yes, in some cases, if you keep it at a very high level, it works okay. But when you go to very, like say, you take a biological cell and you want to get all the details in the cell, it doesn't work that. So there are some spots where it is good, some spots where it is bad. So like touch and go.
I think like it's like some amount of basic infographic that
Mm-hmm.
it gets done very good.
You know what I
But
wanted to do? I wanted to do architecture diagrams, right? I should say, oh, I'm going to build this
oh,
application, right? Give me the architecture. It should be spitting out, oh, this is exactly what you need and kind of out there. But I don't think we're anywhere close to it, but possible. Could be.
I think that the landing pages of websites these days, which has like some unique images, which need some amount of infographic. I think that would be something which will become very easy to create with this model.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And UI UX designers, right? I've been following some of them on the YouTube as well. So they use this tool very effectively now to create mobile mock-ups and screens. And within seconds, you do the prompting, boom, it's right there to show to your customer, right? Tremendous
Mm.
productivity and shaking that whole industry, in this process. So
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah,
Also,
like the
thing
thing
is,
is,
Uh, another
go ahead.
thing is that with the image generation, it's also really good at generating people now. Instead of before, it wasn't that good. It was okay, but if you really zoomed in, you could see like the imperfect like little parts of the image. But now it's able to generate like actual looking like real people, kind of if you wanted that sort of thing in the image.
And it carries over consistency across images. That's key, right? The background, the text, if it is in the background, it carries over very nicely into this generated image. And that's been a problem with image generation models for quite some time, as we all know. We've been playing with this. So that is
Yeah,
another thing that I observed here.
yeah. Like the thing is, like the amount of randomness it had. The I think so. I don't know what they are doing behind the scenes, but this is a really step up. Because I remember using all the last year image generation and everything. It was not giving this much consistent and this much deterministic results at all.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is closed source, obviously. That's why it's a black box.
Yes,
You guys think DeepSeek will come up with something like this very soon, or somebody else will come
I
up with
hope.
this?
Definitely.
Yeah. The thing is that OpenAI. I think OpenAI was the company that first released the first diffusion model, right?
Hmm?
So and they open sourced something, or do you think it was not the case? I'm not sure actually.
I don't. I,
I
I,
don't think it was open source though. I think it was
hmm.
still a closed source model.
Okay. Then Stability was the one who actually did
Yeah,
the groundwork for open
yeah,
source image generation. I
yeah.
think
I
this is a new work for
guys,
Stability now.
all started as open source at some point of time. Everything was open source to start with, right? Without open source, nothing would have happened, right? And now things are like
Yeah.
we have different family of models and everything. But I sincerely hope there will be more open source versions of this, so the innovation can skyrocket, right?
Do you guys know about the Black Forest Labs?
Yeah,
No,
The Flux models?
Flux models. Yeah,
models.
Those models are also pretty good. I'm thinking like if they are now thinking to create something like this, if and they were the one who open sourced some of their base models, and they had obviously the higher quality models were closed source. But now I'm looking towards them like if they now like open source some of those models, then we'll know what has changed now.
Also, it also brings up the question, since they reduced the guardrails, which I was shocked by. I thought this would be the one model where you don't want to have loose guardrails, because as soon as you have loose guardrails, people start generating all sorts of stuff.
No,
Like people
but
generate
did
and
you see that now it has the C2PA something about
content
in
to
the
provenance,
metadata?
like content
Yeah,
to provenance. So when you generate something,
yeah.
right, there is a stamp, you kind of put it on there, and it can be tracked over a period of time. It's like a blockchain kind
Yeah.
of technology, right? So if somebody messes with it, we know they are it's like authenticity of a particular artifact. That's what that is.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. The protection and everything is good, but I don't know. Isn't it like,
Like the
once you
fact
generate something?
Yeah, but still, the fact that you can generate like a Simpsons episode showing like some really like I don't know some artificial like war or something like that, and you can use that to like somehow promote something like that. Having that, and some people won't be able to tell like, oh, that's AI generated. If it's this good, people will be like, oh, that's an actual episode. People will start to think like that, and since there's no guardrails around that, that could be an area for
I mean, guys, all three of us are like more developer focused, more builders. We jump up and down. We want to build stuff, cool stuff that's out there. But still, we cannot forget the fact that there are people who are designers who have spent time, who own these, kind of designs, and then we are kind of using them. So we just can't ignore them either. So there's got to be some
yeah.
spot where creativity is there. At the same time, you're able to compensate and bring everybody into this
Yeah,
ecosystem.
but also I think another way this could go is that they make it so that like the studios that are making those shows are able to use those styles. That way, they're generating episodes. They can literally generate like small parts of the episode and help speed up their production from like a month full of production on like a Simpsons episode to more of like a day worth of production, which means that they could like pump out more episodes. That could also be a way that it goes instead of just like shutting it down, like, no, you can't use any of the styles.
Absolutely.
But I think that, when people are using these image generation models, it's like, they want to like, create and everything. And I'm not sure, like, isn't it like a bit like when they are having this metadata and they are tracking it, that okay, now you've created this, okay, now you're editing this, because I think even other companies like Adobe and everything are also, part of this metadata system or
Mhm.
something. So
Correct.
it will be tracked over time, like whatever you do. So think about if you are creating a meme, which like, there are some people who create memes and,
Mhm.
you are doing some satire against some government or something.
Yeah.
That thing will now be tracked. Like, okay, you first generated this through AI, then you edited it. This, I don't know. That is a bit. Hmm.
Okay. So now just to kind of keep it moving, so now we're gonna go into the other models that they also kind of released recently, which is 4o transcribe and 4o mini transcribe, which are these new audio models that are you're able to tell it exactly how you want it to talk, and like you can tell it like whisper and then like sound excited, kind of like how we see in like AWS Poly kind of a while ago, but like you can kind of do that, but without having to actually code it in, do all that stuff. You can just prompt it with a certain style of voice, with a certain voice. And I think I have a little like demo here from OpenAI that we can kind of see. So let me share my screen and we can take a look at it. Okay. All right, so I think you guys can see.
Yeah.
So this is the OpenAI FM, which is their developer demo kind of that they put out for developers to be able to kind of play around with it. But it's available obviously to anyone. So here we can choose any voice. Let's say we wanted Fable and let's say one like a medieval knight. And again, there's a script right here which you can obviously change. That's going to be part of like the prompt, obviously. And this is the main part right here where you can change the effect, the tone, the emotion, pronunciation, the pause. You can fine tune a lot of stuff about how it speaks. And here you can listen to this.
Ah, noble traveller, heed my words, and I shall lead thee to the fabled Holful Bakery. Step forth upon West 74th Street, marching straight with purpose. When thou dost reach the great crossing at Columbus Avenue,
Mhm.
turn left, as if answering the call to adventure. Continue southward, past bustling merchants and townfolk.
Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see how that works. And also another thing on this demo is it does let you actually turn this into an API call and
Okay.
use this straight from there if you
So
really like
This is pretty cool.
So just to, I was observing all the things that you're showing, right? In the first screen when you showed and you choose these options, I noticed it's pretty much generating a prompt for us. I could tell affect, tone, emotion, all of that is pre-built for us. It's just like an easy way for people to click on what they want and they pre-generate the prompt. And I'm assuming the script can be changed to whatever you want to say in that style, but whatever you want to say.
And another thing is also, of course, you need to be very specific, which you can see on this side. They're kind of being very specific on certain parts of the tone and effect. If you want like exactly what you want, you're gonna have to tell it exactly what you want. But
Right.
yeah, it's able to do it though now.
The other thing that my mind is running wild on is we have different voices there, right? Do they have a custom voice option yet or no?
I don't think they do, and that might also be because they don't want anybody to be able to generate a voice of like if you want to generate a voice of like Trump saying something, especially, then you
Mm.
don't want that to be available to be able to like take his voice and then make it sound like he's like I don't know Santa or something like that, like something more serious. But yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
But have you guys seen 11 Labs? I think this is better than that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if it is all within the same ecosystem for me, then I would stay with that ecosystem. 11 Labs maybe could be one other dependency that I have in my application. If it's all done here, switch, and I'm great. And I see the code component there as well that can be called via an API, and it's all there. Right?
yeah, which means especially for this model versus the image one, this API is already out. It's already available. Anybody can use it and develop with it. But I think this is also like a really strong voice model that people can use. And yeah, I think it's really strong.
Wow. I can see this being used in creative work in so many different ways, right? Even if you're building a storyline or whatever, depending on the mood of the characters, you can change the mood, it modifies the prompt, generate the video. Same person talking, but different mood, like, the way they talk is different, and you can assemble all of that together. And going back to the vision of generating a sitcom or a movie or what, these are all ingredients of
It
that.
really seems like part of these new models is like you can almost generate a full episode. You have the art right here, and if you
Yeah.
really need the voice acting, you just describe exactly how you want the actor. You can also, I think maybe we can see if like you can put an episode into ChatGPT, tell it generate a prompt for for a transcribe and for a transcribe mini to make it sound like this specific voice actor playing
Yeah.
this character.
Karthik,
Yes.
now we are going into this territory of like copying somebody in there, and that's the legal and ethical aspects of things as well, right?
Yeah, and also not just like episodes, but even like ads. Like the person that's reading the ad, usually there's someone like reading an ad, like ad reads and stuff like that. That could also be something that like people use this for now, is that like that being able to like read ads and like do that sort of thing. So that could also be another application, like ad creation. You can
Mm.
use the image gen and Sora for like creating the visuals of the ad, and you can use something like this to create like the voices for the ad. Again, we're again stepping into that kind of creation, like full creation of like content
Yeah, I
kind of
know
space. But yeah,
that in the voice dubbing area, I've heard that the work has gone very, less now. The amount of work people are
Yeah.
getting is very less because of these AI models and everything. That, I think I heard somewhere that some people used to get around 10-20 gigs a month, but now they are down to 3 to 5.
Uh, and I believe you, Loveneet. I definitely believe you, and I feel for that. Right? We all have to be, compassionate and empathetic about it. But also, we should understand that things are changing at a rapid pace. Right? So people who are in that industry have to rethink, retool themselves now to figure out where is it that they can move on, and the ecosystem should be helping them. I don't think we are doing a great job at as a society in that area, but this is the truth. It's not going to go away, right? Is it? No.
Yeah.
yeah, and also another thing is that programs like YouTube, which now have started to use AI dubbing for videos, where creators can like create videos and dub it into like all the languages and be able to like bring it to every single audience. It'd be interesting if like they're able to use something like this to make the dubbing maybe sound more like the actual creator than like I think they are doing something very close to that right now at YouTube. But if they're able to use something like this to make the dubbing sound more like the actual creator, which means that same video could go to every single language and anybody could view that same video. I think YouTube is currently experimenting with something like that.
Yeah, I can see the benefit. I can absolutely see the benefit. And YouTube, with so many users, is such a great platform to leverage all of that. The same video in different languages. Wow. Recently, there was an interview with and Lex Pod. I think there is a podcast with the Prime Minister of India that happened recently, right? And then it was dubbed in so many different languages in India, and it was so nice to hear your Prime Minister speak in your own language, and you're able to communicate very effectively. Great opportunity.
Okay, so now let's go and move on to, I think the next topic here is Gemini 2.5 Pro, the new Gemini model. So what do you guys
Yeah.
think about that?
Has anyone used it?
I've not checked it out yet. So have you played with it, Loveneet?
Yeah, I actually tried it, and it's pretty good. It's like I think I used some of the coding questions, and it sometimes in a very difficult, I would say, regarding a very large problem, it was able to solve that in one shot, which took Claude at least 3 to 5 prompts with extended thinking.
Mm.
I mean, I also tried Gemini 2.5, the thinking model, but still, I was very, thinking like, because even in the benchmarks, I think it is the live coding benchmark. Claude in the Sui coding benchmark, Claude is the one which has like higher percentage, but Gemini 2.5 Pro is a very good model.
So in your personal experience, right? Did you compare your same use case, the one that you tried, with Claude 3.7 and
Yeah,
Gemini Pro, and
yeah,
you feel like Gemini Pro did a
yeah,
great job
yeah, yeah.
compared to that? In what ways, though? In what ways was it, in your
It was a
experience? What
very So it was first of all, it was just a one shot. I didn't
Oh,
even try doing anything at all. I literally just copied the same prompt, the
by the way,
same
what was
coding everything.
what was the prompt that you really wrote? What were you trying to generate again?
So it was a coding challenge
Hmm. Oh, coding
from one
challenge.
of the yeah from one of
Okay.
the websites that I
Uh,
was trying, and I just copy pasted that,
hmm.
tried that, and boom,
Hmm.
it was done in
Wow.
one shot.
And how about 3.7, where when you're using Claude, where you going back and forth
Yeah,
on it?
yeah. I
How,
had to
how
go.
many times?
I think two times. Yeah,
Two times at least. And this one got it in
yeah,
the first shot.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So there is some
That was
improvement.
like I think the first time ever that any model was able to do better than Sonnet on that.
Wow. Yeah. I'm starting to experiment with the cursor tool now, like, to do some vibe coding and everything. Cursor uses a lot of these models. I'm looking forward to Gemini Pro getting on the list of models that they provide. Right now, I think that it's still using 3.7, and it's still doing a great job for me. But sounds like this could even do a better job than what 3.7 is. I'm now going to be eagerly looking forward to Pro to see what happens to for the use cases that I try. Right?
That
Yeah.
plus
And
also it'll be higher cost though. Of course, the model will be, it might be like still a cheap model, but it could also have the potential to be a very expensive model to use.
I can see why. Because remember the context window of Gemini Pro, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that like a million, guys? Like the context
yeah,
windows of
yeah,
a million, right? Million is great, but not from a cost or a latency standpoint. Always, I wonder, right? It's great. It has an entire 1 million context that it can do a great job. But to your point, Karthik, that comes with cost. The more you pack it in, the more input tokens, right?
So, what's the context window difference between 3.7 Claude 3.7 Sonnet versus this 2.5 Pro model?
I see. Sonnet is still
the,
like what, 250K or
yeah,
something?
yeah,
250K.
There's a large
yeah,
difference there
Oh
from
yeah,
250K to 1 million. That's a huge difference.
yeah.
exactly. And I heard they're working on even increasing that 1 million to even higher contexts, which just means that you can shove in a whole hour of a video or more than an hour of a video and analyze the heck out of it in one shot. That's a lot. That's a lot, right?
Guys,
So,
what also generally I have seen is the Gemini model's pricing is one of the best in the whole market. Have
mm,
you seen the last pricing? I think Gemini 2 model pricing that was closest to pricing to DeepSeek R1.
Oh wow.
really?
Yeah, that's why it makes a very, compelling case to use that model instead of Claude. Because I think for Claude's 1 million token, you were paying, I'm not sure, maybe around $15. And for the same amount of tokens, for Gemini, you were paying, I think, less than $5 or something. I'm
That's a
not sure
large.
of the numbers. Yeah, the difference is huge. And the thing is, latency is better in Gemini models,
In spite of the 1 million
in
context window.
spite of everything.
Hmm,
Comparable intelligence, pricing low, latency very less.
that is interesting. Wow.
And the
Okay.
experience you get while, using, if you have ever used Gemini chat, the response just flies. Even if you're using a thinking model, the response
Mm.
just flies. I think the Claude's user experiences you get to you don't wait that much, but still there is a wait of a minute or two. But I think usually with Gemini too, a thinking model also, the responses are way more quicker.
Loveneet, I remember seeing a video through LinkedIn where somebody was sharing their entire screen, right, and chatting with this model, and it was like a friend, right? Oh, let's click on this. Oh, I'm seeing this stuff on your screen. Okay, let's do this stuff. Let's do that. It's like a collaborator kind of thing, and they were going back and forth, powered by this. Now I can imagine, right? They're essentially what they're capturing the screenshot, sending it to the back end, right, and then making it figure out what to do and respond back, and it was near real time. And you're right, it was near, it wasn't, there wasn't a lag, at least in the video, right? I haven't tried it myself, but right.
Yeah, I think Google with these Gemini models is really creating like really awesome models, but people are not noticing them that much. That
Mm,
is the case with Gemini,
why
but if
why do you think people are not noticing it? What do you
I think
guys
it's
think?
just the, biases where when because some people are very much biased towards using GPT-4 or OpenAI, and but there is a cult following of Claude models also that
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna use Claude only.
I think also GPT, the only reason why like it has so much support is because it was the first of the game. So
Yeah,
everybody, it's like the innovator, it's like the top model, but sometimes like in this case it's not the top most model. So I think when people are more open ended to like more models, it'll be easier for this one to
yeah.
grow.
But I think
Wow.
for at least developers, I think Gemini models are right now, I think one of the best models.
Yeah.
Also, does this 2.5 Pro have the API out yet for
So
dev?
I don't think it's still in the preview. I think it's open for testing in Google's AI Studio, but they have not like officially out with the cost and pricing and API. But I think it will released in next 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
also
that
that's
so
amazing.
anything new comes out, usually people get it out to the market sooner, test it out, make sure it's good, and the APIs follow very quickly. Every single provider, like they follow with the API very, very quickly. So we should
I think
expect.
I think OpenAI is the quickest to that because they usually like at least within the day or within like a week they'll release the API, and usually within a day they'll release it to like their plus and free users and everything like that. So I think yeah, that's interesting.
I think they have a very good marketing strategy, like they just like launch it when that thing is ready, so they can strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah, time is of essence in this world,
Especially in AI.
especially in.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, so all right, so then be sure to, I think that's kind of it for today. So be sure to tune in next time as we explore the latest advancements in AI and ML and generative AI. Can't wait to see you all next week. And our sources for all our information will be in the description below. And yeah, so yeah, all right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.